Hi friends, it's me Brooklyn the Friendly Blogger and welcome back to Saucy Sundayz. For this episode 2, we are going to be talking about bananas and plantains. Now, you should have already known that because each Friday on all my other social media platforms, I drop something called Food Find Fridays, and this past Friday was all about bananas and plantains, and I promised you that for Saucy Sunday we're going to cook something with plantains. So that's what today is all about, cooking something with plantains. Now, as you know, if you saw last Sunday's episode, I made sancocho de pescado, and we used plantains there in that form in the stew. So for today we're going to be making patacones, or depending on where you are in the world, they're also known as tostones or twice fried plantains. It is like one of my favorite snacks here in Colombia. Hell, the first time I tried it was back, don't know what year, but for my 24th or 25th birthday, my best friend Danielle and I went to Costa Rica, and when I tell you all we ordered was tostones, that's all we ordered and ate. They're so yummy, they're so good. So it made sense for when I came here to Colombia and took a cooking class that I learned how to make patacones. So let's get into it, and yeah, I hope you like them. So let's get into some things first. You're probably wondering, are bananas and are plantains the same? I mean, I know I did when I first started eating and cooking with these things. And after doing some research, I learned that they really aren't the same. They're more like cousins. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. They are cousins. The plantain has a higher starch content. If you go to the grocery store today and you actually feel a plantain, the skin is a lot thicker than a normal banana. Plus, you can eat them when they're green because they can also be green when they're ripe. Whereas bananas, the skin is just a slightly thinner, they're more sweeter, and of course you eat them when they are yellow. So that's the main difference. I mean, I can go to a deep scientific chemical dive, but we're not going to get into that today because today is all about food and cooking something. So today we're not going to use any bananas. Plus, I don't really like bananas. I normally eat bananas in shakes or frozen bananas. Oh, frozen bananas are so good. But I can never just eat a banana like this. Ugh. What I am going to do today is I'm going to make my favorite thing, or my favorite snack. So last week I made sancocho de pescado, and I still have loads of that left. So I thought for this not Food Find Friday, but I thought for this Saucy Sunday, it would be great to make a nice little snack. So we're gonna make something called patacones, or depending on where you are in the world, you might call these tostones, or depending on where you are in the world, you might just call them twice fried bananas or plantains. So that's what we're gonna make today. Come on and let's go. So let's get cooking. So I brought you down a little lower so that you can see in front of me. I know, again, my angles are all off, but we're working with what I got here in Colombia as I'm, living abroad for a couple months. So the first thing that you need is a couple of ripe plantains. I'm not cooking for a bunch of people, it's just me, so I'm only going to use 2. You're going to need a cutting board, you're going to need a knife, you're going to need a neutral oil. You can use just basic vegetable oil that you find at the grocery store. You can use canola oil, you can even use grapeseed oil. I thought about using coconut oil because, I do like a little coconut flavor, but I don't have any of that in hand, so I'm just going to use what I have, which is canola oil. The second thing that you're gonna need is something to fry it in. Now, I don't have a deep fryer, and I'm not home in Vegas. If I was in Vegas, I would just fry these in my cast iron Dutch oven or my cast iron skillet. What I do have over here on my stove is just a normal pot that you would boil hot water in for, I don't know, pasta. That's deep enough to give me what I want, so I'm gonna go ahead and use that. I've got my oil in the pan right now, slowly rising to a high temperature, and as I'm waiting for that to rise, I'm gonna go ahead and cut these plantains up. So I'm gonna grab my plantain. When I was in a cooking class back in Cartagena, the instructor said this is the only way you're supposed to cut plantains. Is that true? I don't know. I'm sure someone's abuela can tell me how to do it better, but we're gonna do it today because this is how my instructor taught me. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it in half. There we go. We got 2 parts, and I actually cut a couple other plantains earlier, so I have 4 parts total. And to help me loosen up that thick skin that I was telling you about, I'm going to just gently slice the skin. So I'm going to bring this closer so you can see. Can you see that thickness right there? We're going to slice that to make it easier for that to come off. So I'm going to go ahead and slice it. I'm not slicing the whole plantain, just a little bit of the skin, and I'm just gonna make 3 slices, okay? Yep, 3 little slices. Do you see that? There we go, 3 little slices. So Now, if you guys watched my last video when I was making the sancocho de pescado, I said I did not want to use the knife for this because I already cut my finger when I was making this in my other apartment in Cartagena. But for you all, I'm going to show you. So you can take your knife and basically use it to pick up the skin, right? You see how I'm lifting the skin with the knife? Yeah, that's what you want to do. Use the knife to lift. So I'm going to have the blade facing outwards so it doesn't cut my face. Make sure my hand is nowhere near the actual blade. And I'm going to slowly, very slowly, you guys, slowly work this off. You see? Working it off. Now, if you're scary like I am and you're like, listen, I got to learn one time from cutting myself, you can use your hands too. Because again, we sliced it. So this is me using my hands. It's a little messier, maybe more laborious, but again, I just don't want to cut my hand. It just healed. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do this, and it's okay if I did that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that for the rest of these. Slice them, slice them. I'm gonna use my knife just to show you once again, slowly. And you can even do this part. I mean, you can switch out your knives, right? You can take this away, and I got a little butter knife, right? So if you don't want to cut yourself like I did, you can just take a little butter knife, and that can help you lift it up, right? It's a little slippery, but yeah, see, it came off just as easy. But again, I don't want to cut myself, so I'm just going to use my hands. Plus, I love getting my hands dirty, okay? What I would love is a garden, you guys. I would love to have a garden, or maybe like a little homestead, a chicken or two, a cow or two, a pig or two. You know, I'm not afraid of getting my hands dirty. So anyways, that was random. That's not what this video is about. So I'm gonna go ahead and just tear this plantain up. So I'm getting all my scraps, and I've got this one already sliced. So I'm gonna go ahead and this one too. Make sure you have a good grip. You don't want to cut your finger. That's what happened to me last time. And there we go. I'm just going to go ahead and begin peeling. And as you can see, it comes off very easy. It's not that hard. It's just how messy do you want to get, honestly. And it smells great. For some reason, I don't know if anyone else experiences this, but Patacones, plantains, it smells like a freshly cut watermelon to me. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm the only person that feels that way, but it definitely is giving me fresh cut watermelon vibes. Okay, so I'm not gonna force you to watch all of this. So I'm gonna move on to the next step. So I've got my 3 plantains, and what I wanna do is I wanna cut them in half. This is the size that I in particular looking for. So let me bring this up to the camera so you can see. This is the size. This is what I am looking for. Okay, these are the size. So I'm going to cut the rest of my plantains into the same size. Now I'm just going to put these in the pot, but my oil is not hot yet. So let's take a little bit of a break so that we can get our oil hot. Then what we're going to do is we're going to come back, put these in the pots, but we're going to take it a step further and make this amazing garlicky paprika slurry. That's what I'm going to call it, a little slurry. I'll tell you about that later. Let's take a little break. Hey friends, so while I'm letting my oil raise in temp, get a little hot for the patacones, I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to sprinkle in that food history that I was telling you about. So I wondered, why do they call twice fried plantains patacones? Where does the name come from? Where does it originate from? So I did some research online, I did some digging, and I found out that it actually originates from the Arab word batika. Now, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right because this dates back in the Middle Ages, but back then, batika was the name of the Arab currency. From then, batika became patica, which was the Italian currency, and then, you know, traveling and years and years and years, we've got the Colombian, the name of the first Colombian coin, which was called patacone. And because the people felt like the patacone looked very similar to their dish of the twice fried plantains, they said, okay, we're gonna go ahead and call it patacones. So that's your sprinkle of food history, and I think the oil should be hot now. So let's, friends, so I was wondering why my oil was not getting hot, and I finally realized that I'm out of gas. Yes, I'm out of gas. So we are going to put the plantains in the fridge, and I'm gonna wait for my Airbnb host to bring me another gas tank. You're probably wondering, what the heck is Brooklyn talking to? The way I have to operate my stove here in my Airbnb in Colombia is with a gas tank. I'll turn the well, you know what? I told you in episode 1 this is gonna be hands-on, so let me walk you and show you what I got going on. This is the gas that I use to heat up my stove, and it's all out of gas. So we're gonna take a longer than usual break. I'm gonna sit on the couch, give you a little bit of a food history, just a teensy tiny bit, and we're gonna come back when I got gas. And hey, it's okay. Saucy Sundayz is all about relaxing, all about it being chill, and all about going with the flow. And right now, this is the flow. So I'll catch you in a couple minutes. Okay, friends, guess who's back? I am. As you can tell, we are now in the afternoon. The light has definitely changed, but it's totally okay because now we have everything that we need. I've got the propane for the oven or the stove, which is great, and I just put the pot of oil on, so we're gonna let that, you know, get all nice and hot, get the temp raised. But I wanted to go ahead and just move on to the next section. So now what we're gonna do is prepare this sort of marinade slurry thing. I called it a slurry earlier, but that's not really what a slurry is in the culinary world, so I'm gonna call it a marinade. Not everyone does this, right? So if you go to Costa Rica, if you go to Colombia and you go to a restaurant, you're not always gonna have your patacones with this garlicky flavor. Sometimes they're just literally twice fried, sprinkled with a little bit of salt, and then you yourself can put some lime on it, and that's great, right? But what I learned from this chef is if you make this like garlic marinade, so you fry it the first time, you smash it, then you dip it in this really yummy garlic paprika marinade, and then you fry it the second time. Oh my God. I'm telling you guys, it's so good. So that's what we're gonna do. That's how we're gonna prepare it. I'm gonna get these nice and peeled, and then I'm also gonna blend them because I don't, you know, it's pretty loud, but essentially it's my blender. I'm going to peel, I'm probably gonna use one because again, I'm just cooking for myself. So I'm gonna peel this, I'm gonna add this in the blender. I'm gonna slowly drizzle in some olive oil because I want it to slowly thicken up or become like a little bit of a paste. And then after I'm done with that, I'm gonna add a little bit of water to loosen it up. That's where I'll get that marinade consistency. And then I'm also gonna put some paprika in it. And yes, I travel with my own paprika, okay, because I'm that girl. And as you can probably hear, there's some background noises because it is now late in the afternoon and people are chilling. So, hey, we're just pivoting and we're cooking. Anyways, let me get these peeled and I'll be right back. All right, so I got my garlic peeled and I've got it in the blender here. As you can see, I am going to go ahead and fill it up with just a little bit of water and then turn it on and slowly, and when I say slowly, I mean slowly drizzle in the oil so that everything can emulsify. When I say there's garlic everywhere, I cannot believe I just turned the blender on without having the top on. So make sure that before you even plug the blender up, just make sure it's on off, because that's what happened. I plugged it up and there's garlic everywhere. So yeah. All right, so I'm gonna turn it off. This was literally just the water and the garlic. So I want you to see what it looks like, just a teensy tiny bit. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to turn it on. Oh, yep, no, I'm gonna have to put this down. So this is what the garlic little marinade slurry looks like. You can see the consistency. I added a little bit of water to it. It smells fabulous, y'all. Like, it smells so good. So I'm gonna add the paprika just a little bit. Again, I'm just eyeing this. There really is no well, there is a recipe that I'll put at the bottom of the description, but I'm just gonna mix this up. Now I'm gonna let this sit after I mix it up, and it looks like my fire or my oil is hot enough for the oh my God, I can't even talk. You guys, when I tell you garlic is everywhere right now, garlic is everywhere. I'm going to get my plantains out the fridge so we can drop them in the oil. So technically I would want the oil to cover the entire plantain, but I'm working with what I got. So I'm just going to drop a couple in here. You really should be using some tongs or something because it is hot oil. So please don't do what I'm doing. Ooh, and try not to splash because it is hot oil. But I'm going to go ahead and place these in here. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for them to get nice and golden and really soften up, because this is what it looks like. I mean, obviously this has been in the refrigerator for quite some time, so it oxidized, but it's really, really hard. What we're trying to accomplish is to get it nice golden brown and to get it to soften up, because remember there's lots of starches in here, and so we got to get the starches working. And so I think that looks good. So I'm gonna let this cook for about I don't know, let's say 10 maybe 15 minutes. I'll come back and check and see how things are going, but I'm just leave this for like 10 minutes. And so I had to open my window and turn on the fan because it was getting a little hot in this kitchen, so I'm hoping my handy dandy mic can get the job done. I hope you can hear me. But the patacones or the plantains are looking very pretty nice golden and brown. I'm going to take one out so that you can see. Make sure don't drip no oil on myself. All right, I'm going to do something very dangerous. Don't try this at home. But this is what it looks like. Oh, and it's dripping. It's dripping. It's dripping. It's dripping. But it looks so pretty. So that is what I was looking for. Just that sort of doneness. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take all of them out. I'm going to keep the fire on though, okay? Keeping the fire on. Gonna take all of them out and then we're going to smash them. Now there is a tool that you can use. It's similar to the tool that it's similar to the tortilla press. I should, you would think, because I'm doing an episode on tostones or patacones, that I would know what the tool is called, but I don't. I'm such a, oh my gosh, I should be ashamed of myself, but I don't. But I do know that there's like a tool that looks very similar to a tortilla press that you can use. But of course, I will have to just put that information in the description below. And I think I've got all of my plantains out. Like I said, I'm just going to turn the fire down, but not off, because we're essentially going to dip these beautiful plantains in that yummy garlic marinade and then put them back in the fire. So come on, let's go. Okay, so the guys downstairs are a little loud, so I did try to close the window, but you might still hear the fan in the background because it is still a little hot in here. But, all right, I've got my plantains. Like I said, I took them out of the oil. They are still a little hot, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to you, it's hot. But I want to go ahead and smash them right now. So I have them on this saucer, this plate, and I'm actually going to use this saucer and this plate to smash it. So I'm going to go ahead and toss them to the side of the cutting board, and I'm going to take my hot plantain. Yes, this is hot. If you're doing this at home, please let them cool down a little bit, but because I'm me and I burn myself all the time, it's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just, have it like this on the, what is this called? Oh my gosh, I'm so thrown off by how late I'm doing this. The cutting board, and I'm just gonna flip my saucer over, and I'm going to put all my weight down and smash it. Ew, that was ugly. That's not. Let me use another saucer and use the back side. Actually, that wasn't smart. Actually, I'm gonna use a big old plate. Like I said, there's actually a tool for this, but I'm only here for a couple more weeks, so I'm not gonna buy that. So I'm using the back side now, and I'm gonna smash it. Ugh. Put all my weight on it. There we go. This is what I'm looking for. Okay, I'm looking for something like this. Can you see it? Oh, kind of broke apart here, but that's what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna do it with the next one. I'm gonna smash it. Pretty. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and just use my knife to pick it up. Another pretty, you know. And again, if I had this tool, I can probably get them thinner and, you know, better shapes. But listen, I'm using what I got, okay? I'm using what I got. Oh, these are gonna taste so good. All right. So I've got 3. I'm gonna stop here. I'll do the rest later, but I wanna just show you. Ooh, I think I might owe Airbnb me some money, but I wanna show you. So I'm going to go ahead and just dip this in that mixture I was telling you about. Ooh, all that goodness. Look at that, look at that. Oh, smells amazing. Oh, smells amazing. And then I'm gonna put this in the fryer. So let's go to the fryer. All right, I'm making a mess in the kitchen, but y'all are coming with me. Come on, let's go. Okay, I'm going to the fryer. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh. Oh, you see that? Ah, smells great. So I'm just gonna leave that in for a couple of minutes. Again, I'm just looking for them to be nice and crispy now, golden brown. They've already cooked in the inside. Remember, because I had to leave that, let them in there, let them in the oil for like 10 to 15 minutes the first time. So this is really just to cook off that garlic a little bit and to get the flavors going and to get it nice and crispy. So I'll check back in a couple minutes. I'm gonna dip the rest of these, clean my hands. Okay, it's time to wind down on the couch. What a day. Who knew that this quick little 45 minute, really just a 30-minute recipe would take an entire day? Gosh. So these are my beautiful patacones or patacones. These are super crispy. Oh my goodness, the fragrance of garlic, it smells so good. And I did sprinkle a little bit of salt and put a little bit of lime on it. So yummy. They cooled down a little bit, but I want to show you. This is what it looks like. It's so pretty, pretty, pretty. Of course, some of them are mostly like a bright, I wouldn't say super bright, but a brighter yellow. But remember, they oxidized a little bit because I had to leave them in the fridge. So, I mean, I personally am not complaining. So good. I don't know if the mic caught that, but nice and crispy. So good. Anyways, before I go, I thought this would be a perfect time to talk about the United, excuse me, almost choked. Perfect time to talk about the Banana Massacre, or also known as the United Fruit Company Massacre. So if you follow me on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, you saw that I posted on Food Find Fridays about the massacre. And so let's see what happened. Essentially, the banana plantain, it's a small city or town. Gosh, I think the town was called Cienga. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but I believe the town was called Cienga. It was up near Santa Marta. If you've ever been to Cartagena, then you know about Santa Marta. So it was the banana plantain was up there, and essentially the workers were just striking because they wanted better conditions. And so the strike happened around November in 1928, and you know there were weeks and weeks of the strikers, you know, the employees, and the United Fruits Company thinking that they were going to find some sort of resolution, but unfortunately, that resolution never happened. And so in December, that led to this huge massacre where the Colombian government had sent the Colombian military to the banana plantain and killed a lot of people. Now, this is very controversial, I will say. When I did my research, some people are like, oh, 47 people died, whereas there's other accounts where 2,000, like up to 2,000 people died. So, you know, I think for me, when I first learned about this history, I was like, one, these bananas, they mean a lot, right? If you think back to the history, especially here in Colombia, like people fought and died for these bananas and these plantains. So one, you know, it's like put some respect on the food here, right? But two, it just reminds me that, you know, when you're traveling and when you're trying different foods and trying different things and going to different places, it's always nice to take a little bit of a deeper dive into the history of the area, because you never know, right? You never know. You might find out something so crazy or something so unique. So anyways, like I said, I just wanted to sit on the couch, wind down, nerd out with you guys a little bit, and talked about the bananas. You can always do your own research. By all means, I am not the the smartest person in the room, although I like to be sometimes. And I encourage you all to do your own research. So if you want to learn more about the United Fruits Company massacre, go research it. If you want to learn more about why Patacones or Patacones are called that, research it. I can only do so much for y'all. Anyways, I'm going to go back to and enjoying my bowl. Patacones. Until next time. See you next Sunday.